So as usual, I was wondering what to put in the intro for my video today, and somebody very special solved my problem today. So I did a rap where I mentioned Lex Ellis a couple of weeks back in one of my, it was the most complimented video. I'll put the link in the description below, and Lex saw it. He's one of my favourite YouTube reviewers. He's from Scotland. He's one of the most funny reviewers out there, and also one with a great collection and a really in-depth knowledge of the fragrances. He was a real inspiration for me to start. The link to his channel is in the description below, and I'm very honoured because Lex has made a song about Mr. Smelly, and I will just hand over to Lex and let the song speak for itself.
And this is a sort of a tribute to one of my favourite reviewers at the moment, and that's Mr. Smelly. I hope you guys enjoy it, and especially Mr. Smelly, I hope you enjoy it as well.
Nothing can stand in his way, so you better start to play, because Mr. Smelly is now on his way.
So, apart from the comparison between Dior Homme and Valentino Uomo, I just want to mention a really exciting new release that I'm desperate to try. It's Valentino Uomo Intense. So I'm going to give a little mini preview of this one. Really excited to find out about it, and let me know, people, in the comments if you're interested for me to get it and review it. I don't know if it's going to be any good. Sometimes flankers with the name Intense are a letdown. We just don't know, but for me, it sounds good. So let's have a look at my little preview now. So the top notes on Valentino Uomo Intense are mandarin and clary sage. The mid notes are iris and tonka bean, and in the base we have black leather and vanilla bean. The company are describing it this way: Valentino Uomo Intense is for a man with a charismatic allure and an assertive dominant masculinity with a distinctive aura. An eau de parfum concentration with a long-lasting trail to enhance a man's everyday charisma or for a special occasion. A suave, leathery fragrance, a deep, unforgettable olfactory signature, black leather and suave vanilla accords. So everything they're saying about this suggests it might be quite strong and that I might quite like it. Things that appeal to me in that description. They're talking about a man with an assertive, dominant masculinity. Sound familiar, guys? And a distinctive aura. Well, as someone known as an oversprayer, a distinctive aura would be a polite way of describing me, I guess. Apparently it leaves a long-lasting trail. Again, that's something I like to think I do wherever I go, whether people like it or not. And it's also described as an unforgettable olfactory signature. So unforgettable, again, suggests there's some sillage there, and that you're gonna leave your mark. So I'm very intrigued about this fragrance. Okay, so today's video proper is going to be a comparison between Dior Homme and Valentino Uomo. So these two are often compared to each other, and of course Dior Homme came along first. I think it was released in 2005. It's been reformulated then, and the perfumier for the current version is Francois Demachy. The perfumier for the original one, before it was reformulated, who made the original Dior Homme, is Olivier Polge, and he is the man behind Valentino Uomo. Now, people are saying Valentino Uomo is a rip-off or a copy of either Dior Homme or Dior Homme Intense, or some kind of halfway between the two. So let's find out if that's fair. There are a few slightly not too kind reviews of Valentino Uomo out there on the internet, but there's also a lot of really good ones, and I really like it. So let's do a little comparison. So I've sprayed a little bit on each hand already. Dior Homme is here on my left hand, so I have a quick sniff there, and I'll do the top notes a bit further up my arm there. So it's a fresher spray. The one here is about an hour old. Okay, well, Dior Homme, I mean, this one has been reviewed a lot, and I've only had it about a month or so. I was very kindly lent it, again, by my great friend and someone who I'm very grateful to, Ronak Ricky. He's cheeky, he's tricky, they call him Ronak Ricky, and he's very kind and very generous with his fragrances because he's lent me some really good ones, and I really appreciate it. So, Dior Homme, this is the currently available version. Fantastic opening, similar, I did Dior Homme Intense in the last review, and you get that waxy lipstick iris kind of note in this one, and it's a really pleasant opening. It's a little bit fresher than Dior Homme Intense. It's a little bit lighter, as you would probably expect. So it's more wearable, perhaps in different occasions. It'd be fine for daytime. Also still good for a night out. And it's a very pleasant, well-blended fragrance. I can totally see why it's a classic. It's got a little bit of sweetness in there, a little bit of white leather, I think, is the note that's in there. And of course the iris. For a very easy to like, slightly different and unique scent. There isn't much out there, or certainly there wasn't before this came along, that was similar to this. And I can absolutely see why this is a classic fragrance. Personally, I do prefer Dior Homme Intense, or perhaps even Dior Homme Parfum, because they are more intense. And I'm afraid I'm just the kind of person that if there's a normal version of something and a strong one, I tend to want the strong one. I know there's a Bentley for men, and I've got Bentley for Men Intense, and I would want the intense version. I've smelt the normal one, and it is similar but weaker. It's the same if I've got a cough or a cold. I walk into Boots the Chemist and I've got a choice between Nurofen and Nurofen Plus. I'm going to go for the Plus. I want something strong that's going to work, but that is perhaps not a great attitude. This is a very pleasant scent. For me, if I want something that's smelling like this, I would go for the Intense because it's stronger. But if you're really into the Dior Homme line, I can totally see why this could be your daytime scent, and you could use Dior Homme Intense in the nighttime. It's a beautiful classic fragrance, much talked about, somewhat imitated by other fragrances and indeed by its own flankers, but a true masterpiece by the company Dior, who makes some fantastic, I think they might be my favorite designer house actually, and it's a fantastic scent. So let's compare to Valentino Uomo. People are saying it's just a copy. Well, first of all, Olivier Polge created Dior Homme, and then they reformulated. So he's got every right to copy. I mean, what's he? He's ripping off himself. I mean, he's got every right to do that or use that theme in his fragrances. So, I mean, it's not fair to just call it a copy, even if it is similar. And I don't have a problem with that. So let's find out. It's been on there for a little while. Now, Valentino Uomo does not contain an iris note. It's got white leather, and they've got some notes in common. But it's got a big standout different note, and that's the Giandorca cream. That's an Italian kind of chocolate hazelnut concoction, similar in flavour to Nutella that we get over here in the United Kingdom, and I think you can get it in the United States as well, and pretty much all around the world. So that's a rather unique note, and it's got myrtle in there as well, which is different to Dior Homme. And I find this an absolutely exquisite and charming fragrance. I've already reviewed it, and the different thing that it's got in there is that almost gourmandy note in there, and the white leather is a similar thing to the Dior Homme. So yes, I can tell a similarity here. There's a lot in common between these two fragrances, but by no means would it be redundant to own both. I find that the Valentino Uomo has a really unique charm with the hazelnut chocolatey element, and perhaps it's the myrtle. There's a little bit of that kind of herbal thing in there, and it's a kind of, it projects reasonably well for the first hour or two, and then it does quite quickly go down to being a fairly soft skin scent. But it should do, because it's a sophisticated, elegant fragrance. It shouldn't be shouting. I find longevity to be very good on that Uomo, and Dior Homme, similarly, I find it to be pretty decent in performance. They're both reasonably polite fragrances, and that's what they're meant to be. So they're not beast mode. Performance is about equal from my limited experience of Dior Homme and slightly more extensive experience on Valentino Uomo. So on the left hand side we've got the original masterpiece, justly regarded as an all-time classic, Dior Homme, and in my right hand we've got Valentino Uomo, which is a more recent pretender to the throne. but is a rather intriguing and even, I would say, enigmatic fragrance. It's a little bit mysterious, and it's got some notes I just haven't smelled anywhere. So I think that people who are saying that the Uomo is a bland copy or not as good as Dior Homme should be kind of looked down upon because it's just a second-rate version of Dior Homme. I really don't agree with that statement. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, fine, that's what we're all here for. But in my personal, very humble opinion, I really like Uomo, and I think it could be one worth having alongside Dior Homme, or even just instead of, if you happen to prefer it. Personally, I've got Dior Homme Intense. I might get the Parfum. I'm not rushing out to buy Dior Homme. This is going back to Ronak. I like it, but I don't need it because I would prefer to wear Valentino Uomo. First of all, it's a little bit different, isn't it? A lot of people wear Dior Homme. Not many people, I don't think, wear Valentino Uomo. Not so many. It's not so much talked about. The bottle is amazing, and it's a little bit different. What are you wearing? Valentino Uomo. I like that. And that lovely hazelnut note, when it comes back to autumn and even in the winter time, daytime or the night time, any time is the right time for Valentino Uomo, except hot summer's days. I wouldn't go for it then. So I would say Valentino Uomo, well worth having. Dior Homme, also a fantastic classic. People who say that this one's just no good compared to this one, that's not fair. It's unique, it's interesting, and I cannot wait to find out what Valentino Uomo Intense smells like. I hope it's going to be good. And remember, whatever we're doing in life, let's project.